guys, and welcome to Vegan Beauty Girl. Today we are going to be discussing cruelty-free and why I have grown to hate the term so much, pretty much. And every time I talk about something being like cruelty-free, I keep wanting to put like a big asterisk or disclaimer because I feel like cruelty-free just needs a bigger conversation. It's not that simple, and I'm really glad that I'm finally filming this video so we can have that kind of like deeper conversation about it, because I've been meaning to do this for a while and I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on the matter as well. I feel like it's best to start off with, what does cruelty-free actually mean? I kind of want to talk about like cruelty-free and vegan because often these terms are used together, and just kind of make sure you guys know the difference. So in the beauty space, a vegan product will be made without any animal derived ingredients, so like no milk, no eggs, no any other weird crap they put in makeup which is animal derived. Whereas cruelty free means that something's been made without animal testing. So cruelty free does not mean that a product is vegan, that is sustainably made, that is ethically made beyond just being void of animal testing. That's an important thing off the get-go, is that it's not free from cruelty exactly, it's just free from animal testing. So it may not be fair trade, it might be very exploitative to people, to the environment, but it'll still be cruelty free, which is just annoying. I just feel like it could have had a better name. It kind of makes out that the only ethical issue in the beauty industry is whether or not animals are being tested on, when actually shopping ethically beauty wise is much more than just avoiding animal testing. So what you can expect from a cruelty-free brand is that they do not test on animals during any part of the production of their products, that they do not allow third parties to test their products and animals on their behalf, that their suppliers, where they source their ingredients, also do not test on animals, and also that they do not sell into territories which will test their products on animals. Currently in the UK, I think the biggest falling stone for most companies that aren't cruelty-free is number 4, and that is that China do still have a legal requirement for animal testing. Things are improving, but still as it stands, cruelty-free shoppers will not buy from brands that sell in China. Because it's such a profitable place to sell beauty products, most brands do choose to continue selling in China rather than going cruelty-free, but they will do their utmost best to do greenwashing practices to convince you that their products are not tested on animals. These are big companies and they know exactly how to spin their speech to really convince you that they are doing good when they are not. But that's not even my issue. Well, that is an issue I have, but that is not my issue with the term cruelty-free. Where things get complicated with cruelty-free is that there is not like one legal definition of it. Not only do bloggers and shoppers kind of argue about like what line you draw for cruelty-free products, like where is it evaluated, even certifications can't agree on it. So when it means slightly different things to different shoppers, bloggers, certifications, it can get really confusing, especially when we typically treat the term as though it's one statement, that it's not a gauge, that it's a binary thing, either something's cruelty-free or it's not, when there are different tiers and levels to it. I think this is where it just really frustrates me that not enough people are having like open conversations about where they draw their line of cruelty-free. And not only people, but brands as well, just like in a wide way. People do just talk about it like it's like cruelty-free or not, and it's really bothers me. I'd say very typically, very basically, there are 3 tiers to cruelty-free. I'd say the most popular and most common way of evaluating something being cruelty-free is doing it at brand level. So if a brand is cruelty-free, if none of their products are tested on animals, if they meet all 4 requirements, that is what's widely known as cruelty-free. So it'd be like The Body Shop is cruelty-free or NYX is cruelty-free. That is the most common use of the term. That is what most of the certifications also stick to. I will do a separate video if you guys want, where I can like deep dive into what the different certifications mean, because it's so frustrating that they all mean a slightly different thing. Another level, which I'd say is the next most common level to evaluate cruelty-free, is when people bring parent companies into it. So for example, when The Body Shop was bought by L'Oreal, even though The Body Shop remained cruelty-free, a lot of people decided to boycott The Body Shop because they were owned by L'Oreal, who test on animals, and they have since been sold on. They are actually cruelty-free now and they are owned by a cruelty-free company. But I feel like that is one of the biggest events in like beauty history that shows that consumers that are ethical do care about who owns the companies that they buy from. Another example would be like Ren Skincare, who are cruelty-free themselves, but then they're owned by Unilever. So some people would choose to continue buying from Ren, other people would say, no, I don't want my money to go and profit Unilever in the long run because they still test on animals. This is typically where I draw my line. I do have the one exception, which is Superdrug, and I've done a whole video kind of exploring why that is, but that is typically what you can expect from me. You can expect my cruelty-free line to be at the parent company level. For me, I just don't want any of my money to go funding people like L'Oreal, Estee Lauder. I'd rather support small businesses that stay independently owned, really help like redistribute the wealth, make sure that I'm not funding any big companies who are hugely exploitative, not only with animals but in other practices as well. But even just in simplest terms of avoiding animal testing, I just don't want any of my money to go into L'Oreal's profits, Unilever's profits, because they are still supporting animal testing. And as a vegan cruelty-free shopper, I'm just I think there are enough alternatives out there for me to happily, comfortably avoid those brands. And that's what sits right with me ethically. I'm not saying that should be the definition of cruelty-free and that anyone else who doesn't shop at my level of cruelty-free isn't shopping cruelty-free. I appreciate that we're all on different levels and that's fine. And we've all got different viewpoints too, it's fine. It's just the fact that I feel like there should be some more transparency when people talk about cruelty-free. The third final tier, which I didn't realise existed until I was like 2 years into being a beauty blogger, a vegan cruelty-free beauty blogger. This was something that was not made obvious at all. And that is that there's also a certification, which is the Vegan Society, who will classify a product as cruelty-free at product level, which means a brand can still be allowing animal testing to happen on their products, but if there's like 2 products which aren't tested on animals, aren't sold in China, then those 2 products can be cruelty-free. This is very rare, like not many people would classify cruelty-free at that level. So it is the Vegan Society who've done this, and I think the example that comes to mind which shocked me was when I saw them do it with Colgate. So Colgate released 2 vegan toothpastes last year which were cruelty-free because those 2 toothpastes weren't sold in China, despite the brand still selling in China. So despite the brand not being cruelty-free, the products had the Vegan Society logo, and that shocked a lot of vegan shoppers, a lot of cruelty-free shoppers, because a lot of people did not realise that the Vegan Society did not care whether or not a brand was cruelty-free, just that the products were. I just find the amount of people that were shocked to see that happen shows that a lot of people weren't aware that their certification defined cruelty-free at that level. People just knew that if a beauty product had the Vegan Society logo on it, it would be vegan and cruelty-free. They just didn't understand that it was cruelty-free at product level because that is just not a common thing. And I remember being so mad at that last year. I just feel like it's just making things so difficult for cruelty-free shoppers. So then when Colgate are promoting their product as vegan and cruelty-free, it's like, that's so misleading. It's not fair on a consumer to expect them to understand that only those products are cruelty-free when the very widely accepted cruelty-free gauge is kind of at the company level. So yeah, that's kind of like my biggest frustration with cruelty-free. It's not like this one definition. It's not cruelty-free or not cruelty-free. It's like, what level of cruelty-free is it? Just commonly it's not spoken about in that way. Obviously it becomes quite complicated. Like if every Instagram caption I did went into like the deep dive of cruelty-free, it would be quite hard, but I just don't know how else, other than filming this video, I can kind of explain that to people. And I know that this definitely, when I started trying to shop vegan and cruelty-free beauty, this was so confusing to me because people were treating cruelty-free like it was one term, and it took me ages to figure out how many different ways people could try and spin it. Beyond all of this as well is that it becomes really difficult when, like, I want to talk about a non-cruelty-free brand, and having to say that non-cruelty-free is such a double negative. It's so annoying. I hate having to say that. If I said something like this brand tests on animals, it's not strictly true because they wouldn't be testing on animals. They'd be selling in territory, and then that territory would test their products on animals. So it's more like they're allowing their products to be tested on animals, like they're aware that it's happening. They're happy with that being a consequence of selling in a territory, but like they themselves are not testing on animals. And this is like the sort of language they'll use in their bloody FAQs to get away with it. It's just hard to find the way to word it which is like strictly true. Then instead you end up saying like they're not cruelty free, and it's just this double negative. So are you allowed to say like this brand is cruel? Because that would be how you'd cancel it out, but then no one will know what the hell I'm talking about. I find that really annoying as well, but that's just as someone who writes about cruelty-free and non-cruelty-free brands a lot. I'm just like, this is just so horrible to write, so horrible to say, just so ugh. So if after watching this video you're a little bit confused about how to know if your products are truly cruelty-free, I'm sorry for really throwing a spanner in the works. I don't want to confuse anyone or put them off of shopping cruelty-free. It's a journey. It takes time to learn really where you feel comfortable setting your bar and kind of learning which brands are at which level, I guess. But for those of you who have been trying to shop cruelty-free for a while and just still find yourself getting really confused and like you're hearing conflicting information all the time, hopefully this makes you feel a bit more sane, because you are hearing conflicting information all the time, and people, brands, they're not really acknowledging that there is this big discrepancy between it. Like they'll just say we're cruelty-free. Like you'll go into an FAQs and people will just be like we're cruelty-free, and then they won't really elaborate on what version of cruelty-free they are. If you are looking to shop cruelty-free and you feel a little bit bemused after this, one of my top tips is to learn really what the different certifications mean. I think I will do a video on that, but beyond that, my top tip is when you are uncertain of a brand, Google like, is this brand cruelty-free? Instead of looking at their company FAQs, just try and find a blog post by a cruelty-free blogger, particularly Logical Harmony, Cruelty-Free Kitty, Ethical Elephant. There are quite a few cruelty-free blogs out there. Most cruelty-free bloggers don't just say this brand's cruelty-free, this brand's not cruelty-free. They will actually explain what evidence there is to back it up. So you can go onto their page and it will say this brand is cruelty-free, they have this certification, they do or do not have a parent company, that parent company is or is not cruelty-free. It will just provides that fuller picture that most people who want to shop cruelty-free kind of like to see, because everyone has their different bars and levels and gauges. And I don't want to come off as the vegan police. I just think that people should be able to make informed choices. I don't care if your cruelty-free level is different to me. I'm not vegan policing you. I just think you are entitled to a fuller conversation so that you are able to make informed choices, especially as an ethical consumer. You're already putting in so much like effort and energy into this. It just shouldn't be that hard. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you've got any further questions, please leave them down below. I am trying to cover so many basics this veganuary, and hopefully this has explained things quite well for you guys. If you're new around here, please do hit like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video and if you've learned something new. I am doing a vegan beauty challenge. You're getting a daily email every day throughout January, so I'll leave the sign up link down below. I also have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, obviously YouTube here, and also a Patreon. So if you find that any of the information I give you is useful, I have Patreon and it's as low as £2 a month, so I'll leave that link down below as well. Until next time, bye!